Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. In this edition, we'll be talking about a Tottenham win. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Liverpool 0 in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. Of course, the second leg takes place in 4 weeks' time, and what a game that is going to be at Anfield. Now, we are live on YouTube, live on Facebook, on X and on Twitch, so please do get involved. Let us know how you are feeling right now as a Tottenham Hotspur fan. I have just literally come from the stadium, and I tell you what, that feeling is back. The scenes at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium are back. Ange Postecoglou looked a very, very happy man after the game. Now, as I said, get involved. Let us know how you are feeling about tonight's game. Now, the match facts and stats here. Tottenham Hotspur with 39.9% of the ball to Liverpool's 60.1%. Shots, Spurs had 9 to Liverpool's 14. Shots on target, Spurs had 4 to Liverpool's 7. Total touches inside the box, Spurs had 19 to Liverpool's 36. Goalkeeper saves, Kinsky making his debut. We'll get into that. 6 and Alisson 2. Fouls, Spurs 8, Liverpool 10, and corners 2 apiece. Now, as I mentioned, Spurs 1, Liverpool 0. Bergvall with the only goal of the game after 86 minutes, and Dominic Solanke with a superb assist. Now, before I introduce today's special guest on the podcast, we're going to hear from Ange Postecoglou about Tottenham's 1-0 win.
You've had more than your fair share of bad luck. Did you get a slice of luck with the goal? Lucas Bergvall lucky to be on the pitch?
Yeah, great question. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. Because because again, people misinterpret my comments from the other day. The rule is, and we've been told for quite a while now, that if advantage gets played, as long as it's not a cynical tackle, then the yellow card doesn't, because we've been screaming for it for the last 2 months. It's happened to us consistently. Have a look at our games. And we've asked the officials, and they've said, if we play advantage, as long as it's not a cynical tackle, then the yellow card doesn't get paid. Now, to me, that was pretty clear.
Now, before I do introduce the guests, we do have a very important tweet to put out, if I can find it here. It is about Rodrigo Bentancur. Basically, Spurs said that he is conscious, he is okay, and he is currently at the hospital. Craig Dearman's back with us. Craig, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. Yeah, good news day today. My son passed his driving test as well, so that's all good. But obviously, pretty horrific to see what happened to Bentancur again. He's just not getting any luck at all at the moment. I don't think anybody's sure what's happened to him. Some people are saying dislocated shoulder, but the club said it was a head injury, I think. So, which is weird in itself. You thought they would have used the concussion substitute if they knew it was a head injury. I know that's a minor thing in the grand scheme of things, but if they obviously knew something was quite badly wrong with him, because Porro rushed on, so or rushed up to him, shall I say, and put him in the recovery position. So the players generally know in those situations when something's quite bad. So yeah, but pretty worrying to see. Not nice to see that. No matter what club a player plays for, let alone one of your own. So speedy recovery. Hopefully we'll get some good news tomorrow.
We'll get into the football in a minute, but let's introduce the guests first. We've got Simon Foxhall with us for the very first time on the Spurs Chat podcast. Si the Fox. Si, how are you?
I am absolutely, I'm delighted, Chris. And I just have a 3-word intro, and I just want to say, Antonin Kinsky, wow.
Absolutely.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I've just confidence and competence for a first game. It just blew me away. I thought, what am I watching? Especially after the previous round, where our keeper didn't look confident or competent. But there we go. So yeah,
we will get into it. Also back with us is singer Leo the Lion. Leo, how are you?
I'm really great, man. I'm really happy today. Today's been a great day. A good win, which is always, always fills my heart. It's been a while since I felt like that. It's been a while since they've played the winning music at the stadium. Every time the match finishes, we don't hear any music. So it's good that we were able to hear the song. So I'm feeling good. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you back, Leo. Ange Postecoglou on why tonight meant a lot to him. He said, I don't feel great about the fact that the people at this club, our supporters, haven't had that feeling of victory. It weighs heavily on me. And I tell you what, as I mentioned, that feel-good factor was back tonight at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, certainly at that final whistle. Craig, let's start the show with you. Your thoughts on today's game, because as Si mentioned there, Anthony and Kinsky making his Spurs debut. I know we're going to get into it, the match instance, but, fantastic debut from him. Bergvall, there is a lot of argument at the moment whether he should have been on the pitch or not. But of course, some decisions go against us, like at the weekend. Some have gone for us. I instantly said, actually, when Bergvall made that tackle, I actually said the words out loud, he's off. And he went to get the winning goal. Your thoughts on today's game?
Yeah, I said exactly the same thing, actually. I might have thrown in an expletive in amongst it, but yeah, it was the sentiment was the same. Look, what goes around comes around. Jota nearly took Oliver Skipp's head off and then went on to score the winning goal. So, what goes around comes around. So, Champions League final, absolutely. Then the handball law was changed literally the next game. Look, the performance I thought was absolutely superb by Tottenham tonight. Liverpool, yes, weren't at their best, but we managed the game well. So many good performances all over that pitch tonight. Not just Bergvall. You can throw. I thought Solanke, as you know, I watch centre forwards a lot because that's where I used to play back in the day, and he's running off the ball. His tireless work rate was just phenomenal. His work rate for the goal, I just thought was absolutely fantastic. Archie Gray was great. The new keeper was superb. He instilled me. I mean, I know in the warm-up he threw one in the back of his net, but I mean if that was the worst thing he's done tonight, my word. I mean, he just looked. He inspired me with confidence when I saw the ball at his feet. He looked so comfortable. Whereas whenever Forster had the ball, and don't get me wrong, Forster had a couple of good performances, but this guy, 21 years old, he looks so commanding in that goal tonight. And you could see the back four looks more comfortable with him in the goal. And there's a few cheeky flicks over Liverpool players as well, which was great to see. And his distribution was good, short and long. He's got a launch on him when he can boot out the pitch. And there was one in the first half where he found Son's feet from about 60 yards. So that was good. But as I say, overall, brilliant performance. We're still in the tie for people that was worrying, me included. I didn't see this result tonight, if I'm brutally honest. I don't think you can have too many goals going to Anfield, but look, we're ahead. We are ahead in the tie, and hopefully we'll have players back for the second leg. So we are well in this. I'm not going to get ahead of myself personally. If we get to the final, I'd rather play Arsenal than Newcastle, to be honest. But you never know what's going to happen at St James's Park. So, look, it's only half time as well, so I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But it's very, very pleasing to get through that tie because the players showed character tonight, and that could be the turning point of our season.
Don't worry, Craig. We're all level-headed here. I'm not going to be asking you the question, who would you like to be playing in the final yet? Don't worry about that. So let's come to you. Your thoughts on today's game?
Well, I just think it's incredible. I'm one of these people, Chris, if you invite me to dinner, I have to bring a moose bouche or something with me. So I've done a little bit of work, and I was looking at the 20-man squads for the games tonight. And Liverpool's players have played 2,945 games between them for Liverpool. This is Liverpool only. Spurs are 1,108. 1,108. So if you look at look at the average, the Liverpool players have played 2.5 times more games for that club. And the only reason I mention that is last night I was watching the chat about people saying that we don't Ange doesn't tweak and doesn't do this and we don't learn anything. Well, yeah, we do, but they're just inexperienced at playing, one, at that level, and two, in the system that he's asking them to play. That's just my view. And then if you look as well, if you add up all the time that the players have been at the club, Liverpool's have the average time a player has been at the club is 4.25 years. Spurs just over 1.5. So, and in that you've got Son Heung-min, who's going to weigh the average one way or the other. So, I just think it's incredible what they're doing, given the circumstances that they've got at the moment. And that I've just had a wow evening. I mean, you know, Jed Spence was incredible tonight. And I did say in a post earlier on that I quite fancied him playing at left back against Salah, because Salah likes to come in on his left foot. Spence being right-footed is obviously the opposite to that, so he can counter it when Salah comes inside. So I quite fancied that, and so it turned out to be. And, you know, when Salah played against Destiny, you know, a couple of weeks ago, completely different game, because that wasn't Destiny's favourite side. So if I'm honest, I thought we'd get a draw. I was up for us getting a draw, and I saw Mr. Box Office and everybody else telling me that I'm not sure why I should support Spurs anymore, but I will, and I do, and I shall carry on, and I will continue to take the positives from, and I will criticise Ange when he gets things wrong. I will do, but he got things right tonight. Some people saying last night it might have been by circumstance, but the way that, you know, he handled the substitutes, Sonny was tiring. He did things right tonight, and I think that the whole group, including Ange, brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
It was nice. So at the end of the game, the whole of the South Stand were singing Ange Postecoglou's name. We haven't heard that for some time, because, as we know, there's a lot of people that are very mixed at the moment about the manager. But tonight, I felt like everyone was very united. So I can ask you about Liverpool, because they've, up until this evening, they've only lost one game in competitive competition all season. I know, as Craig said, you know, Liverpool weren't, at their best today. That is very fair to say. A lot of overhit passes in all areas of the pitch. But what did you make of them tonight?
Look, let's go back to where you started with some of the stats. They're still a good team at keeping the ball. They still made some chances. They will always cause you a problem. I don't think, was it their best game tonight? Yes. Was it their worst? Probably not. And I think that, again, I'm always one of these people that however each team plays affects how the other teams play. So tonight, Ange tucked the fullbacks back, didn't give Liverpool the space where we did in the league game a couple of weeks ago. Tweaks, which, of course, we know he doesn't make, of course. No, of course he doesn't, but he does. And I just think that we got them to play where we were comfortable. And a lot of it tonight was in front of us. So I think Liverpool played as well as we allowed them to play. And I think that sometimes that gets lost. And sometimes when we play other teams, we can only play as well as other teams allow us to play at times. So, you know, I don't think they were bad. I think, you know, they had carried enough threat going forward. But I just think that, you know, however we played our system tonight, with a lot of it in front of us, we only allowed them to be less of a threat than they have been in other games this season and will be in games to come.
Leo, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on tonight's win.
Yeah, man, I'm really pleased, you know. So I saw that I was quietly confident. I'm just going to be honest with you. I was quietly confident. The reason why I was quietly confident was because I saw the Liverpool lineup, and it wasn't their strongest first 11. Obviously, there was a lot of their first team players out. Diaz didn't start. Trent wasn't starting. And so they had a lot of like young players. So I thought, okay, hold on. It looks like we've got a chance, because obviously they're resting players for the league, you know. So to me, I was quietly confident. I saw our team, and I was even more confident when I saw that Fraser Forster wasn't playing in goal, because I don't know if you know my views. I'm not a big Forster fan. He dives after the fact, you know. The goal's in the net, then he dives. You know, he's that sort of keeper. So then it filled me up with more confidence. And on top of that, the players that we have, I believe in them. Even though we've got Archie Gray at the back, he's a fantastic player. He's good on the ball. He reads the play well. So I said to myself, well, he's good in defense. Based on the opposition we've got, I think he's good enough to play against this Liverpool team. Same again with Dragusin's back in there. We've got Porro on the right. We've got Spencer. You know, all of these things filled me with a bit more with confidence. The midfield, I thought good. And then Solanke, we know that Solanke is always, you know, is going to always put the pressure on. I think he's probably he's my favorite right now. Solanke just an incredible player. So overall, I honestly felt confident. I felt that we could do something today. I felt that we could win because we're at home and Liverpool had a lesser team. And I did get scared when Diaz came on, when Trent came on. It did change. You know, you can see the quality. And that's the thing about when you have quality players, especially in your team. It's just you can just tell the difference, you know, in the way we play, the way that Kinsky was passing the ball. He just made everyone feel comfortable. The way in the first minute, he was just passing it about both feet, chipping it over the defense. He just looked so confident, and it filled me with confidence. And I think it also filled the whole team with confidence. It filled the back line with confidence, and it just felt good. So, you know, I got my lucky pants up here, you know, because I knew that, you know, if we were winning today, I was going to give the lucky pants a debut. Okay. You know, so yeah. So today I enjoyed it. There was a lot of fantastic performances today. And I just can't wait to get into it. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
Leo, have Spurs done enough to go through to the final, do you think? Because going to Anfield in 4 weeks' time, we know that the trips to Anfield, certainly in recent history, are extremely tough. The amount of times that I've driven away from Anfield, you know, having had a bad result, and it seems like a very, very long way home. Of course, it is 4 weeks' time. A lot of the injured players could be back for Spurs. Liverpool could be in very different form. It could be very different. But it sets the tie up really nicely, doesn't it?
It does. It does. You know, you asked me the question, have we done enough? I don't know. We've not done enough. You know, not saying that we can't win it, but it's just 1-0. You know, the question that you're asking is, do you think we can go to Anfield and Liverpool not score?
No, you asked that.
Okay, well, this is another way of trying to think about it. Do you believe that we can go to Anfield and block Liverpool? Do you think we can go to Liverpool and score a goal? You know, so would it be 0-0? So these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. So I don't think we've done enough. Ideally, before the game, I was thinking to myself, we really need at least 3 goals for me to think maybe we might have a chance. And you know, at least 3 goals, and I'm confident that we can lose 2-1 at Anfield. 1-0 is precarious. Let's be real. So that's why I don't want to get ahead of myself. It was a great performance today, but I think, you know, the question is, can we score at Anfield? Yes, we can. The possibility is very high. We can do that. Can we concede at Anfield? Yes, the possibility is very high. We can do that. However, Liverpool are going to be, hopefully they're going to be competing with the league. So hopefully they can rest some players. Hopefully we'll have some players back. I hope they don't play a full team squad, because Liverpool at Anfield, full team squad, is a different proposition. You know, so again, it depends on if we have our players back, if we can sign some fresh players that are coming in. It's another key thing. Obviously, if we have Mwani, or if another striker coming in, that can help us. You know, if we have some Romero, these guys can come back, it's going to bolster the team in. But it does it's an advantage. We're 1-0 up. They need to score 1, then it's equalized, and then hopefully we could score another one, 2-1, and then 1-1, 2-1 maybe, and then we'll see how it goes. But that's how I feel.
What was also really nice at the end of the game, all of the injured players were there celebrating with the squad, which was really, really nice.
Yeah.
Leo, I suppose I should ask, those lucky pants, they should be staying there for the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, don't worry, they're going to be there. Listen, and if we win, I'm trying to think what I can do if we win it.
Actually, don't even go there. Let's go to Craig. Craig's face says it all. It says it all.
If we win, I'll wear it. I'll come on the show and I'll just wear my pants.
As long as he's fully clothed from the waist down, I don't mind. Yeah.
I'll do a
Lineker. Craig, we won't ask you to wear your lucky pants. Let's go to the starting lineup. Of course, Kinsky made competitive Spurs. He only signed on Sunday and making his competitive debut in a semi-final of the Carabao Cup. Wow. Just 3 days later. Pedro Porro, Dragusin, Gray, Spence. In midfield, Bissouma, Bentancur and Bergvall. And Kulusevski, Solanke and Heung-min Son. Subs this evening, Austin, Dorrington, Reguilon, Elise, Moore, Yang-min Hyuk on the bench for the first time for Spurs, Johnson, Werner and Lancashire. What did you make of the starting 11, Craig? Because as Leo mentioned there, Liverpool did have a couple of players, their first teamers on the bench. This was probably the strongest 11 that Ange Postecoglou could have put out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he didn't really have much choice. Amongst those players there, you could argue Johnson, push Werner. He wouldn't have been surprised to see him tonight, or start tonight. But yeah, the team to a degree picked itself tonight. But again, what a performance by all of them. Absolutely fantastic. No surprises in there. The only surprise was the decision to throw in. Do you throw in Kinsky, or do you stick with Austin because he had such a good debut? But he's proved that he's ready, and they've obviously seen in 3 days of training that he's well up to the task, and he's not only a backup to Vicario, he's a challenger to Vicario. Somebody was really coming at me in the comments saying what I said last week, why do we buy a backup keeper? I'm not sure what I've ever done to you, but it's quite aggressive, but that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm well aware that Forster's not the best keeper, but I've always said, why give Austin a contract if you're not going to believe in him and play him? And I thought he had a brilliant debut. Having seen Kinsky, I can see why the club bought him in. And for all the slagging that Daniel Levy gets and the board do get, at least they acted quickly, got a keeper in very quickly, signed him Sunday, played him tonight. So you can't moan about that. Nobody can moan about that. And that performance, they've seen something in the data. They've obviously been to watch him and just spoken to him, and he has really, really earned his place in that team. And forever now, I think we're in a situation where, however long Vicario is out, we've got a keeper there that you can feel confidence in, and that is having a keeper the defence and the rest of the team are confident in. It can only be a good thing.
Can I just add one thing just with Kinsky? What you just mentioned something there about during the game, I saw him push up and was actually playing as a centre back, because he was showing that he was good he shows that he's good with his feet, and again, it's definitely someone that can push our main keeper. He's definitely someone that could possibly be the number one based on that performance. I hope I don't jinx it, but the way that he was pushing up and was interchanging with Archie and Dragusin, I felt this guy's competent. You guys saw that, didn't you?
100%. Yeah, brilliant.
Craig, let's stay with you for a second. Stu Miller, by the way, writes, whole panel in their pants if we win the thing. I don't know about that.
Yeah, let's do it.
I know Leo's nodding, but Stu's up, Si's up for it as well. Bloody hell!
Somebody's just made a good point. No, not think we're getting carried away with Kinsky. It would be very easy to. You're right, 100%. But you have to go on what you've seen, and that performance tonight. The fact it was his debut and in a semi-final, I think that bodes well for the future.
Do you know what, Craig? That's exactly where I wanted to go with Kinsky, because he was oozing confidence. I'll tell you what, to have that amount of confidence, he's only young, he's only 21 years old. The amount of pass backs that he had today, extremely comfortable with his feet. I thought his kicking with both feet was absolutely sensational at times. The save at the end, which we'll come to, absolutely brilliant. He made a couple of very good saves, very comfortable, as I've said. What do you make of the debut? Because the amount of times when he had a pass back and he would just drag the ball forward either to the left or the right and literally take the ball past one of the Liverpool attackers. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, because we've kind of been used to Forster in that position and everyone being nervous, and we all know what happened when we played Liverpool last time, right? But the first time he did, you thought, actually, it was almost like an outfield player playing in goal. In some degrees tonight, and there's going to be moments where you're going to think, oh Christ, I mean, he was nearly caught when he made a left-footed clearance actually, but he was obviously a little bit quicker than Forster was when he tried to do it, and he managed to get the ball away. I just thought it was a very impressive debut, and to see this image at the end of the game with his sister, and I think he said his dad's behind her, the whole family in tears, very proud of that performance. It was just a great, wonderful thing to see. And, he's gone from you know, within a week, he's had his dreams realised, and it just goes to show, doesn't it? You work hard, and rewards will come your way. Obviously, very, very early on in his Tottenham career, but hopefully that's the first of many good games for him, and a clean sheet, and that is equal to So I saw on Twitter, it's equal to the number of clean sheets Vicario and Forster have had combined. So it's a stupid stat, but you know, he's kept a clean sheet.
It was another great moment, actually, at the end of the game, because the injured Vicario went over to hug Kinsky, which was a lovely moment. And Kinsky then stood there signing autographs for the Tottenham Hotspur fans, which I thought was a nice moment as well. So what did you make of Kinsky's debut for Tottenham? And let's talk about the starting 11. I suppose that was the strongest team that Ange could have put out. And I know a lot of us always wonder what a Tottenham manager is going to do in cup competitions. But I suppose when you get to this stage of a cup competition, you have to go strong. And I know he's got a lot of injuries.
Yeah, you do. And again, the injuries dictate. But if his players are fit for the second leg, he will pick the strongest team, or what he considers to be the strongest team for that game. I was listening to Leo there saying about, you know, going to Anfield. We have had 3 draws there in the last 10 seasons. So, you know, there's something to hold on to. They were score draws as well, Leo. So, you know, let's take the positives from that. But yeah, the Kinsky for me is just the calmness. And I think Vicario, whether people believe it or not, he is calm behind the back four. And I think if you've got a calm keeper, all successful teams. I mean, Alisson is a calm keeper. Bergvall nearly caught him out today, but he's generally calm. Ederson's calm. Vicario's calm. If you get those kind of players behind the back four, it does add to the stability. And I think the fact that, you know, it's been pointed out that he can play off of both feet. I actually listened to a piece done by Ben Jacobs yesterday, who kind of highlighted that Kinsky is really adept at making late decisions about whether he's coming forward or coming back or going backwards, dependent on where the player is or where the play is. And I watched for that tonight, and he really is. You know, the cross near the end where he patted it down and caught it. If you watch what he did, he went backwards. The shot, the last save that he made, he came forwards. He was moving forwards towards the ball. And the one, you know, where he blocked it out with his body, I can't remember who got in. Was it Nunes got in when Trent played him in? He stood up tall, put his body, it went out for a corner. But all of those were examples of him reading the play and understanding when to come forward, when to go back. And I just thought it was interesting for me to watch it. As for the starting lineup, what else can we do at the moment? You can only perm the numbers so many ways to get a solution, can't you? And you know, when Rodrigo went off after 7 minutes, I just thought, we're cursed. We are actually cursed. And it just seems to be that there's not a game where there isn't an injury or an incident that leaves us all scratching our heads and going, well, you know, as Ange kicked a black cat and while standing underneath a ladder or whatever else. It's just, wow. So I think it was good. And you know, even when Bentancur went off, I've seen lots of people saying Kulusevski wasn't as great tonight as he's been all season. But if you look at what Ange asked him to do, and you saw him a couple of times when he went to the side, he asked him to play deeper, just sit with Bissouma and you know, like in front of the back four a little bit and patrol that area, leave Bergvall to run up and down like he did. So I just think it was, you know, very disciplined when Kulu moved back. So, positive. You have to be positive.
So let's stay with you. Let's go through the match incidents, because after 6 minutes, Son put in a great cross for Dragusin at the goalkeeper saved. This is just before Bentancur went off injured. A great chance, wasn't it?
Yeah, perfect. And again, that is, classic Tottenham football, isn't it? And when we look at stuff like that, who's on the end of it? Our centre half. Some people would scratch their heads. Yeah, I think that's a Tottenham fashion chance, isn't it? And I think their keeper their keeper blocked it. One of the defenders blocked it. Did well to keep it out. And I think again, if you give Sonny opportunities like that once, twice a game, he will give you a quality output, which nearly led to a goal. Yes, there's other areas of the game where he's obviously lacking and struggling a little bit at the moment, which is generally down to confidence with him, if the last 9 years tell us anything. But yeah, good start for us. And I think for me, the whole start set the tone. The first start, but up to that corner when Bentancur went off, we were sitting a little bit deeper. But when the ball turned over, we broke really quickly. And it was opportunities like that where we actually looked dangerous. And just going back to other things about how we've played this season, how many times have we seen Tottenham with 60% possession and losing a game, whereas tonight we had 39 and we win? So it was nice to see.
So you mentioned there that term, and I think a lot of guests have come on this podcast and use the same term, Spurs are cursed. When it comes to injuries, since Ange Postecoglou has walked through the door, we've had a lot of injuries. Some fans are even blaming Ange Postecoglou for a lot of these injuries. Well, we can't speculate on this one with Rodrigo Bentancur, and of course we wish him all of the very best for a speedy recovery. We don't quite know what's happened. It seemed like he went in for a diving header. He's gone down. There is lots of speculation at the moment about what is actually wrong, but this is a player that has had a number of injuries at Spurs, been really, really unlucky in terms of injuries, and he don't ever seem to have that true run of games because it's always disrupted by injuries. He's been so unlucky, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Leicester injury was, to say it was a freak is kind of underplaying it. And, if you look at his Spurs career, when he joined in that January through to the end of that season, when he was playing regularly, he was excellent, absolutely excellent. Run of games in form got going through. Then, obviously, the next season, I thought he was pretty good the season after, up until the point of the injury. And at the point of the injury, we were going along quite well in the league, and it kind of fell apart when he went. So then coming back, well, we all know the story there. He comes back, and then our nemesis, Mr. Cash, decides to take him out again. And then so he comes back in again, bit in and out. Then he decides to take leave of his senses in the summer and make some comments that were inappropriate, let's put it that way. So, yeah, he's just been in and out. I think he's another player that he does need a run of games. And I also think he's a player that's another confidence player. And the more he plays, the more confidence he gets and the better the output. But again, isn't that the same for every player, really?
Yeah, I definitely think that Bentancur is one of the most underrated players as well at Spurs. Leo, let's come to you. After 21 minutes, Kulusevski put a ball in. It was too much to reach Dominic Solanke. A minute later, a great cross from Heung-min Son. Solanke got a touch, hit the goalkeeper, and then went back out to him and went out. It was a great chance for Spurs. At this point, Spurs seem to be on top, creating more chances than Liverpool.
Yeah, man. We really played well, and the great thing about Solanke is he never gives up. He's always chasing balls, hustling, closing down. So anything that's put in there, because I was always thinking to myself, let's give him more service, because if you give him more service, you know that he's going to work. And so, so I really love Solanke. I love what he does. And the thing is, at that time of the game, like I said, I felt confident. I felt that we could get something out of this game, because Liverpool, the players, they were doing a lot of misplaced passes as well. I don't think the players that came in were comfortable with the pressing that we were doing with Solanke and stuff like that, because obviously they've not played regularly, and to come into a game and have that sort of pressure on you kind of put them off. So we saw a lot of like balls getting misplaced, and Tottenham were just on them hard. So yeah, I think we played well. We played really well, honestly. And Solanke for me is a type of player that, you know, when you put him in the game, he's going to give you everything. And even the fact, I know we're going to talk about this later, but even the goal that he scored, the goal that we scored, it was all because of him. The determination, especially at that time of the game, because most players might be too knackered, but the determination, the aggression to go and get the ball, and then the composure, the strength, to push off the defender, and then place the composure to place the pass through. I know that Richarlison will never do that. We know that for a fact.
Do you know, Leo? It's funny because even in Angie's pre-match press conference, I think a lot of the media are so bothered about Solanke's stats and numbers, goal-scoring numbers. But you're right. He actually works extremely hard for the team. The amount of pressing that he does,
absolutely
unbelievable. I think he's had a fantastic season so far. Do you think that's fair, just to judge a striker on numbers? Because, like you said, you know, he works extremely hard and he set the goal up. I know we'll come on to it.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Before I actually experienced Solanke, you would naturally think, what's the purpose of a striker? To score goals. That's your job. Your job is to score goals, right? But then when you see a player like Solanke and the work rate that he does and how it affects the team, the fact that because of his determination, the fact that he's able to close down, we're able to create chances, and maybe he not score, but somebody else might score because of the influence that he has on the game. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a goal scorer, or he's a goal creator, or he's a goal influencer, you know. And so I really love Solanke because I don't know any other player in the Premiership that works the way that he works for 90 minutes non-stop, playing game after game. I thought that he's the one that's going to be suffering from hamstring by now. The sort of continuous running and determination he's doing. So I don't think it's fair to judge him purely on goals. I love him as he is. If he scores goals, that's actually a bonus, as far as I'm concerned. You know, because of how great he is.
Craig, you mentioned on pretty much every podcast that we record that you used to be a centre forward. So I think people know that by now. So I'm gonna ask you this question. Checkmate 734 says that's their bread and butter, Chris. Their job is to score goals. But how impressed are you by Dominic Solanke's hold-up play, assisting, his work rate? It's been fantastic.
Yeah, it has. And yeah, I used to be a centre forward back in the day. And
you should have said.
No, obviously at a very low level. No, but no, that's what I've been saying. His hold-up play has got so much better just over the course of the last 6 months since he's been at the club. I thought that was a weaker part of his game when I first saw him at Tottenham, but he has really, really improved that. Tonight showed that. The ball was sticking to him. He was winning his aerial duels. As Stu Miller said, Solanke is criminally underrated. He's really grown on me as a really important player in this team. He really is. And God, do we need a backup or somebody to challenge him? And you know, I've never thought Richarlison was the answer, but at least it's a centre forward, an experienced centre forward that can actually give him a break. And I hope Richarlison gets a run out Sunday and gives Solanke some well deserved rest. And obviously, as far as we know, we are looking to bring in another forward in this window. So hopefully that will come soon as well. But yeah, Dominic Solanke, that you can kind of see now why they paid so much money for him. Mm. Because Ange wanted him in this system. He can see what he can bring to this system. And as Leo said, I just hope, you know, fingers crossed, touch wood and all that he doesn't pick up an injury for the sheer amount of work he gets through. I'll have to look up tomorrow the mileage he runs during a game, because I'd be fascinated to know, because that is some hard, selfless work from Solanke to bring others into the game, not just for himself. You asked a question about scoring goals. Yes, that is his bread and butter. That's what he's there on the pitch to do. But he does so much more than that. He's knocking them in. I'm sure he'd want a few more goals. And I think I said in the summer, I want to see him get at least 20 this season. He's kind of on course for that. I think he'll get there.
To do that, though, Craig,
yeah,
the service does need to be a little bit better for him. It
does. It does 100%. And of course, in this system, you're reliant on the wingers doing their job and getting in the crosses to him. He's not really the sort of player that can, perhaps like Harry Kane, that make chances himself. I don't think he's that sort of player, like make chances out of nothing. He's more a fox in the box sort of thing. Sorry, Si, to nick your name there, but you know what I mean. He's
Carry on, Craig.
he's that sort of player. So you're right. The service into him from the wingers has to be better. But as I say, I think if he can, I think he'll get close to or near there or thereabouts 20 goals this season. If he gets that, you know, we're doing okay.
How many has he scored so far? Do you know?
10, is it 10?
10,
I think 10, 11, something like that.
Can I make a point on Solanke?
Sure.
And I just want to. One thing I'd say about him is, and it follows on from what you guys have just been saying. How many chances do we actually make him? We made him one chance tonight, and he put it in the back of the net. One chance we made him. Now, that's not down to him. And I've seen a couple of guys in the comments saying his finishing needs to be better. Well, yeah, but if you make him more chances, he will score goals, and therefore you will think his finishing is better. It's not all down to him. The chances that are created. And I think that someone with Oderbear missing, who, was people talking about it last night, somebody who takes players on and can deliver something at the end of it. And if you look at the goal he got against Chelsea, that was just like a half chance, but the ball came in from the wing. He got in front of the defender. Then you had the header in the last game where he got in front of the defender again, Botman, wasn't it? He got there. So if you give him half a chance, I think he'll score more goals. I just don't think we make enough chances for him. That would be my take on it.
Completely agree. Craig, let's come back to you. On 24 minutes, Liverpool had a chance after a good move, shot just past the post. A couple of seconds later, Kulusevski crossed. Johnson was at the back post, but Alisson came rushing out, getting the ball. How impressed have you been with Dejan Kulusevski? Because how many times have we seen him show real leadership in games this season? I feel like he's a completely different player this season. And how many times have we seen him change position mid-game?
Yeah, very versatile, isn't he? But I think he was playing with. I think he's been under the weather this week. I heard earlier. So
haven't they all?
And it's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, when is our luck going to change? Well, he did a bit tonight with the decision, obviously, but as far as injuries go, it's just been. I'm 51, and I can't remember this many injuries during the season ever. I mean, I've known injury spells, but I've never known anything like this. He has been our talisman. He's been, you have to say he's improved this season over last season. Has Ange improved him? Yes, he has. The role he plays as sort of playmaker in the number 10, if you like, or even deeper in midfield or on the wing. I don't think he was at his best tonight, but it's totally understandable. I think he was running on empty at the end there, but obviously if he's been under the weather, I'm sure we've all tried to do things, play sport when you've got a bit of a cold or feeling rough. It's not easy, is it? It's really, really not easy. So yeah, he's just been phenomenal. And again, he's one of the players that I hope gets a rest at the weekend against Tamworth, because he needs it, quite frankly.
That's a really good point. That's exactly where I was going to go next. So let's come to you on this, because we just spoke about Dominic Solanke. Ange said in the press conference yesterday that he hopes that Richarlison will be back next week for the Arsenal game. So he said last week that he would love to give rest to the likes of Solanke and Kulusevski. How important is it going to be, with our injury record this season, that we do actually at some point give a rest to Solanke and Kulusevski?
Yeah, we have to do it. And for me, if you can't play Lancashire and whomever you want to play, even Alfie Dorrington against Tamworth, who the hell can you play them against? So, and if you take Lancashire, for example, are Tamworth of as good a level as the under-21s where he was bagging goals last year? Probably not. So, if it was me, I wouldn't even have them on the bench. But that's just me. I want to be selfish about the upcoming Arsenal game. And also, I think we still need to keep an eye on the Europa League game. So we have to rest the players. We've got Maddison coming back at the weekend, haven't we? So there's a chance to rest Kulu for sure. And then with people like Mikey Moore coming back and being available, give Kulu the weekend off. Let's keep him out of the way. And Dominic Solanke, say for me, I wouldn't even have him in the squad. And that comes down to the rotation. And the same thing as well for me with the centre backs. Alfie Dorrington. If he's going to have a Spurs career, you have to play him at the weekend. You've got to play him, in my opinion. And if you're going to play him, well, let's put him alongside Radu, who's the most experienced of the two centre-halves. Maybe we could give Archie Gray a rest.
Yeah. I thought Archie Gray was great as well.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Jed Spence was phenomenal tonight. Yeah. The back four were really good. And I saw Archie Gray did a couple of bursts up the pitch. Radu Dragusin, he looked like Beckenbauer coming out the back in the second half when he careered up the pitch. Wow, what's going on here?
So let me ask you about Jed Spence. Are you surprised that we are in this position at the moment? Because a lot of people have come out and said, well, Ange Postecoglou would probably never have given opportunities to these players. But like I've said on the podcast the last couple of weeks, and like I've said a lot, when a player gets an opportunity, you've got to grab it. And Jed Spence has certainly done that.
Oh, he has. And, there's two bits to this. So I think this is in my head, they're linked. So you've got two 18-year-olds come into the squad in the summer, Archie and Lucas. And if you're Jed Spence and you see them knuckle down and they're getting opportunities, doesn't that signal to you that maybe you should knuckle down just a little bit and you will get opportunities too? Now, on the show the other night and the one last night, people were saying, well, Angie's only playing them because he has to play them. Maybe, but what I would say is that if there's two 18-year-olds, Archie Gray had never played in the Premier League, Archie Gray had never played in Europe, Lucas Bergvall was coming into a new league. So you have to have a period, and maybe it is 6 months, where you bed them in, not just into the playing style. I'm talking about, Lucas Bergvall's moved from another country, Archie Gray's come from Leeds down to Spurs. And like I said, Jed Spence has seen those two come in, get their heads down, and I think it has subconsciously challenged him to get his act together. And then Ange has always said, if you get your act together, and not just with Jed Spence, but with other players, if you get your head down and prove that, I should be picking you, I will pick you. And I don't think he will have any hesitation, regardless of when Destiny comes back or what we do in the window. I don't think he'd have any hesitation now in swapping his fullbacks. So if you've got Porro, Spence, Destiny, other, who he thinks are good enough, he'll swap them. And then you don't get into the position where Destiny's overplayed, Pedro's overplayed, whomever is overplayed, because you can swap them. And so I think Jed Spence has been challenged by Ange. He's been challenged by two 18-year-olds cutting the mustard, and he's got his head down, and now he's getting his rewards. Fair play to the lad.
Yeah, absolutely. Leo, let's come to you. On 32 minutes, Bissouma was booked. What did you make of Bissouma's performance today? Because I feel like Bissouma has been heavily criticised by a lot of Spurs fans this season.
Yeah, the reason why Bissouma gets criticised a lot, I understand it why, because I remember when he I saw him when he played for Brighton against us, and he just bossed the game. Quality player, strong, just bossed the midfield. And when we signed him, I thought we've really got a quality player here. And he kind of started off well. And I think the reason why a lot of Spurs fans are a bit frustrated with him, because we know his potential. We know that he's a quality player. But he does certain things that just frustrates me, like the rash challenges when there's no need to, and then you get booked, and now you're on the yellow in the first half, and now you know you have to change your game. And it's just very much, it's just, if that's what frustrates us Spurs fans, because we know that he could do so much better. We know the type of player he is. We know the quality that he has. We know that, you know, we felt like he was press resistant, the way that he close control, the way he's able to pass the ball, his strength. We know he has those attributes. And so when he does things like reckless fouls or he doesn't run back enough or just things like that, it frustrates us because we actually believe in him and we all want him to succeed. But sometimes I think he just either gets a bit hot-headed or frustrated in the game, and he just loses his head. So that's why a lot of people are a bit critical about him, which I understand. Is it fair? I don't know. But at the end of the day, you know, if he plays well, everyone gives him a round of applause. When he's plays not so well, not too sure. Today's game, I thought he was all right. I was actually he did some good challenges, but when he did that yellow card, I thought, we don't need that. Now we're just putting pressure on yourself, putting pressure on the team. You can get sent off. And let me just tell you, every time he plays, he always gets booked. Every time Bergvall plays, they always get booked. So if you're a betting man, you know you always have to put them two on yellow cards for sure. You're gonna be rich, and you expect that, and that is what is so frustrating for him. So that's why I can understand the criticism.
Can I just make a little devil's advocate point for you, Leo? This one, just play with this. This is just my view. When he gets on the whole, he's had a couple of errors with this. When he gets booked early in the game, he almost plays more disciplined because he knows he can't. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? And he's frustrating. But if he gets that early booking, he settles down. He can't go. Into. It's like, it's mad. Absolutely mad. It's mad.
I don't know why he does it, because you see him. Like, for example, you see him and he's kind of chasing the ball, and you think, oh, here we go. It always crosses my mind, here we go, rash challenge, or just goes in too hard, and you just yellow card, and then the camera zooms up to his face and his hair with his dreads like this. And everyone's like, what are you doing? And he's like this. That's him.
Can I just say, I often think he thinks in the second half, well, I haven't got my yellow card yet, I'll go and do something stupid. Like Chelsea. That would be the one.
I actually think he's putting bets on himself. That's what it is.
Leo, at the end of the 45 minutes, the fourth official put the board up, 11 minutes added on because, of course, for the delay of Rodrigo Bentancur's injury. Liverpool, I've written down here, Liverpool with so many overhit passes went out of play. In the 11 minutes of added time, Liverpool did have a couple of chances. Salah hitting it over the bar. Then Gakpo shot the goalkeeper. Gakpo then shot over the bar. And then right at the end of the first half, Son crossed to Bergvall, head at goal. Easy for the goalkeeper. We went in at 0-0. How are you feeling at that point?
You know, like I said, I was quietly confident. I felt like during that period with the 11 minutes, I said to myself, usually this is the time when either Spurs concede. You know, we've done so well up on this part. This is where we kind of implode and we concede the goal. But as the time was clicking down, I thought, okay, Liverpool kind of getting on top. I thought, okay, if we can just weather the storm, get in at 0-0, then I know that we've won that battle of not conceding and being Spursy when we've done so much quality so far. And so at that time, I felt, throughout the game, I felt confident, Chris. You know, I really did. I honestly felt, based on the players that were on Liverpool's team and the players that we had, I just felt that we were the stronger fit. And especially when they were doing all these misplaced passes, it was just because of how we were pressing them, the energy, Solanke. So I was confident. I don't know how you felt, Craig or Si. I don't know how you felt then, but I I was okay.
Leo, let me ask you, because Spurs have won the game, obviously, this evening. What I find a lot is when you look at the media reports the next day, certainly the national press, the newspapers, they always focus on a team like Liverpool playing badly rather than Spurs actually getting the win and Spurs getting a good result and playing well, good performance. Did you see it like that? Because are you looking at this saying that, we played a Liverpool side that weren't really up for it tonight and didn't really give the performance that we know that they can all season? Because, as I mentioned earlier, one defeat all season in all competitions before this evening.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of the two, because that wasn't the Liverpool team. Let's just be honest, that wasn't the full Liverpool team. You saw the difference.
It's still full of quality.
It's still quality, but again, it was a Liverpool team if they had injuries like we have, and you can see when you have your quality players, you see how the level of a team just regresses, right? And Liverpool wasn't at full throttle. They didn't have their best players, so it was a mixture of that plus the fact that Tottenham, we did play well. We can't deny that we did play well. We pressed well. We defended well. We were aggressive. We played as unit. The back line was confident. We had a confident goalkeeper that probably made the whole back line confident. We played well, and I think obviously we can't deny that. However, we can't also deny the fact that Liverpool were not at full strength, and we saw the difference when Diaz came on. We saw the difference when Trent Alexander came on. Right, we did see the difference, and so that's why I'm not getting too ahead of myself, and that's why I can understand why the press might say, it's Liverpool because Liverpool didn't play well. No, Liverpool didn't have their full team, but the team that they did have didn't play well because Spurs played really good. I would give you that, but we did not play the Liverpool team that we know.
Yeah, but still, that is their choice. That's the manager's choice. They're playing Accrington this weekend in the FA Cup. So,
to be fair, Chris,
I get it.
Yeah, but they only made 3 changes from the team that started against Man United. So the only players that didn't play were Robertson. Nunes played in place of Jota, and Trent Alexander started against Man United, and Conor Bradley came in. So, but they're in the position to do that. And then just looking at the changes at the 60-minute mark, they brought on Trent, Diaz and Nunes, which is effectively, Robertson aside, their starting lineup, and we still coped.
Yeah. We did cope. We did cope, but it was a different team. They were, the more incisive passes. Trent had the shot where Dragusin cleared off the line. It was like, we're going to talk about that, but you know what I'm saying? It was.
What a strike that was, by the way, by Trent. Jesus.
Oh, wow.
They had a lot of chances, more so when those players came on. And that's why I'm reserved when people talk about Ange out and all this stuff, because you can see the difference when only 3 players come out of any team. Any 3 players come out of any team. Look at how the level drops, And we have, how many players do we have? Not only do we have less players out, but these players that we have on are knackered.
Like Andrew said many times, though, Leo, 10 players out and you're playing a bunch of 18-year-olds and, we're winning.
It's incredible.
It's great. Craig, let's come to you. So half time it was 0-0. On 50 minutes, Liverpool crossed from the right. Gakpo couldn't quite get there. And then on 56 minutes, Bergvall, I tell you, Craig, talk me through this one. Bergvall and then Pedro Porro shooting wide. And Postecoglou fell to the floor, had his head on the grass. He could not believe it. Neither could I.
It was an amazing passage of play, wasn't it? Alisson obviously caught out. Bergvall just missed the first one. Skidded, got up quickly, got in a tackle. And who was it played in Porro? Who was it? Was that
Bergvall?
It was Bergvall, was it? It was
Bergvall's ball went to Porro, yeah.
That's right. And I was like, okay, just put your foot through it. Just put your foot through it, like we've seen you do many times before. and he tried to do a little dink over Alisson almost. I mean, it was there to be hit, but I could see what he was trying to do, and it just didn't work. And when the shot goes like that, it just makes it look a bit stupid, doesn't it? But you could see Porro's like, how did I miss that?
Do you think because he was confident? Yeah. Is that a good thing, though? At least he tried.
It was. I think the shot was there to just put your foot through it, and I think it probably would have stood a better chance going in. But it was a very clever chip, but they're only clever if they go in, aren't they? So look, in the end, it didn't matter. But a glorious chance, and you're not going to get tons against Liverpool. So I did think at the time, oh God, we've got to be burying that.
What have you made of Pedro Porro in a Spurs shirt this season, Craig?
I don't think he's quite hit the heights he did last year. I think he's been overplayed a hell of a lot. I think he's one of the players that's played the most minutes this season, so it's not surprising. I've never thought he's the best defensively, but going forward, I think he does give us options. I think he's got a lovely cross on him. Obviously, we know what he can do from a free kick. His long passing is brilliant. So he's not been terrible by any stretch. I think he's been good, but as TSOM says there, he's just been playing too many games, and it will catch up with you. That level of fitness, we know they're incredibly fit, but to play this way, this Ange ball, if you like, over that many games and over the short passage of time we've had, especially in December, it's going to take its toll. So, probably like to see Porro get a rest. But how many players are we going to rest? I know we'll come on to it a bit later, but you could make arguments if we had the squad to rest a lot of those players. They could do with a rest, but some of them aren't going to get it, sadly.
So that was a huge moment for Spurs on 56 minutes. 13 minutes later, in the 69th minute, Kinsky with a great save from Darwin Nunez, a great save with his right arm. Big moment and a huge cheer from the home fans. So a great save, wasn't it?
No, it's fantastic, and that was the thing I was saying about him, moving forward at the right times and moving back at the right times. He came out, he narrowed the angle, he did everything right. And the other thing I kind of liked about Kinsky was his reading of the game and his awareness seemed to be really good. So anticipation. He was looking where the ball was going and got himself in a position where he could make that save. So crucial, absolutely crucial. And I think tonight for Spurs, it was critical that we didn't go a goal behind. Yeah. Because that changes the mentality, not just of the team, but the stadium. The fact that we held it 0-0 at half time, we went in the second half, we made some chances, and then your keeper comes up with a big save when you need one. I just think you could see the confidence growing in the team from that point onwards, and I think it was just after half time Liverpool had a session, and the 60-minute mark when they made the 3 big changes, they had a period where their possession stats went up and they had a few more attempts on our goal without really threatening. So if you want to look at it in the cold hard days, Craig said that strike by Trent was absolutely incredible when Dragusin cleared it off the line. You had the one we're just talking about where Kinsky saved it. But other than that, really clear-cut chances, I think there were many. And if you go by if you flip it round the other way, we had 2 really good chances. One was when Dominic Solanke put it in the net, and the other one was when Lucas Bergvall put it in the net. So for me, we were as good as they were, except for we finished our dinner and they didn't.
That chance that you just mentioned there, Si, Trent shot, Dragusin clearing off the line. What have you made of Radu Dragusin's career at Spurs so far?
I think again, we've said it a lot tonight. I think he's underrated, and I think that we're kind of quick to dismiss players, at the drop of a hat. You got to remember that how many games did he play last season? 3, 4, 5, maybe.
Wasn't a lot, was it?
No, this season he's probably played with the cup game, so he's probably played about 10. I'll look at his numbers a second. He's in total he's played with substitute appearances. He's played 30 odd appearances for us. But when you're a defender, and we kind of gloss over things like he is only 22 years old. I don't think defenders reach their peak until they're in their mid-20s, because you need the experience, and sometimes you need the scar tissue of some not so good performances to give you the balance, and you become stronger from it. Do I see a player with potential? Yeah, I still do. Is he the same as what we've got? No, he's different to Romero. He's different to Van der Ven. But I think there's a player there. And if you sometimes in certain games, we're going to come up against certain teams where you need someone who is commanding, strong, wins the ball in the air. Would you worry about dropping him in? For me, no. I think he's developing, and I think I was laughing at the chat that was going on last night, Chris. When I can't remember who asked the question, who has improved at Spurs under Ange, and someone put nobody. Are you for real? I think Pedro Porro has been better under Ange. I think Destiny Udogie has improved under Ange. I think Brennan Johnson has improved. I think Deki Kulusevski has improved. Go on. There's more. And that it does make me laugh. And I think Dragusin is one of those ones, he's in footballing terms, and especially in the Premier League, which is very unforgiving. He's a baby. Absolute baby.
Yeah,
get him up, get him. I don't know. Let's just say he's got double what he's got now. 60 games under his belt. Different player. Completely different player.
It's fair to say, though, Si, there are many, many different opinions on our football club, our manager, and our players. Yeah. Leo, let's come to you. On 72 minutes, Heung-min Son came off, Timo Werner came on. Talking about opinions, let's get your opinion on Heung-min Son, because, of course, he will be a Tottenham Hotspur player for at least another season. Various reports in the last 24 hours have stated that Son actually wanted a long-term new deal at Tottenham. But, of course, Spurs have triggered the one-year extension. Are you happy with the news?
Yeah, everyone loves Son. Son's a quality player. Obviously, he's not been at the levels that we expect or we know that he's capable of doing. But you have to look at the circumstances that we're in. He's knackered. He's playing and continue to be playing. He's tired. So I can understand, when you're playing this amount of games, why you might not be able to, perform at the level. Possibly he might be carrying an injury that, he's taken something for, so maybe he's not able to do what he's able to do. But I know that he's got it in him, and to have him in the team, you know that he can score quality goals. You know that he can do magic at any time. So just every player goes through a bad patch, and we're not at full strength. So you can't really throw the book at him now and say, oh, he's finished and blah, blah, blah. We're asking him to do a lot in these current circumstances. And I just wanted to say, I actually believe that this whole injury situation could possibly be a huge, huge blessing in disguise. Because, as Sai was talking earlier, the players like Dragusin being able to have, these sort of minutes under his belt. And what does that do for a player? For Archie to be playing these consistent games where he's playing and continuous every week he's playing. All these players that are coming in would never have got this chance to play this consistent amount of games if we didn't have this injury. So now we have, not only do we have when our main players come back, but we now have a second team that has the experience. We now have a second team that has the battle scars, that can come in and not feel too intimidated because they've not had the opportunities like they've had. You understand? Plus the fact that we're now in a position in January where we're going to buy 4 or 5 players, hopefully, more players, why we've got Kinsky. This would never have happened if we didn't have these injuries to this extent, which has forced us to move our hand, forced us to play all these players, to say, okay, Spence is a quality player, because we probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to see him if we didn't have all these injuries. We probably wouldn't have the opportunity to see the quality of Archie or Bergvall, the way that he's playing, all these minutes that he's getting under the belt. I actually think that this could be a blessing in disguise. And what Angie's talking about is, let's talk about this after the fact, because you definitely have to grow. You can't go through all of this trauma and not grow as a team and not have that unity and say, wow, do you remember what we went through when 10 of our players were out and we had to fight dig in? And if we can win something this season with this story, it's going to do so much, not only for the players, the team, the fans, everyone. It's going to bring the whole team together and say, we are warriors. And to have that foundation to build upon for the summer, to bring new players in, it could be something magical. What do you think?
Can I add a point about Archie Gray? Only because I did this in my footballing career. I played semi-pro. When I started off at centre half, and I had a guy play alongside me who was, at the time, I think he was 16 years my senior, tough as boots, and he knew the dark arts, taught me all I needed to know.
Yeah.
And then when I moved into the middle of the midfield, I felt that I was a better player for having played centre half and knowing what I needed to do to stop the pressure that came on me as a centre half. If I was playing in midfield, I'd learnt the trade of what to do to ease the pressure on the centre halves. And I think this period, by damn circumstance or whatever, of Archie Gray playing centre half, that will make, if you're talking about the skills you need to be a number 6, well, playing at left centre back when you're a right-footed player and seeing what you're subjected to as to what's bypassing your midfield, I'm damn sure when he gets to play in the middle of the midfield, he won't let that happen. I'm absolutely committed. Sorry, Chris.
Thanks for sharing that. I was going to ask, do you see then Archie Gray that would be his position, and you think he'll fit in well in that number 6 role? And also on the podcast in the last year or so, a lot of people have said, what about putting Christian Romero in that number 6 role? What do you think of that?
Yeah, either or. I think Romero could do it. In my opinion, he could sit there and shield. I just personally happen to think that Archie Gray's got more about him as a progressive player, being able to carry the ball a bit more than Romero does. Romero is a fantastic passer of the football. He's superb.
Yeah.
But carrying the ball, I mean, look at Archie Gray tonight. When he came out in the second half, he came out of the defence, he shimmied past one, and then he played what I consider to be the best ball you can play, a simple one. He'd done his job, he carried it in advance of the halfway line, and he moved it on. Now, if you've got a number 6 that's doing that as well, plus when he's a bit further advanced up the field, can drift past a couple of players, get players to commit in the midfield, you're going to create more space for your forwards, because you're going to draw the other team's midfield out to you, beat one of them. Well, now you've got an overload, haven't you? And I just think this, I sound like Angie's brother, don't I, really? This period of growth, for Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall is going to be phenomenal. It's going to make them as players, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I might have got this completely wrong, but I think you're going to see Archie Gray has got an old head on young shoulders, in my opinion. And if you move him into the middle of the midfield, he's another one like Kinsky, as I've seen tonight. They've got ice in their blood. They have ice in their blood. They can just do it. So I see him being our 6 for me.
So I don't know about Angie's brother, more like Craig's brother.
Well, yeah, I'm a little bit tough here there.
Leo, let's come back to you. On 75 minutes, Timo Werner down the wing, shot, went into the side netting. I don't really want to bring a negative vibe now to this podcast about Timo Werner, but all I'm going to say on Timo Werner, and I do want your opinion on him, in his Tottenham career, people have been very critical of Timo Werner. I just feel like this coming weekend against Tamworth on Sunday, he needs to play this game and he needs to score a hat-trick. He needs some form of confidence. Do you agree? What have you made it? What have you made of Timo Werner?
Let's not start with that. Listen, every player that we sign and they do the whole medical, and I watch the medical thing and they do the pictures at the end, and I always think to myself, I want you to be so good. I have got your back. I am your fan. I want you to do the job. I am your fan. And I've set you up now. This is this is where we at. And then you come on the pitch. And then you do things like, I can't control the ball. You do things like you blistering pace, but then the pass is just wonky, whatever. You do the thing like clear open goal, and then you miss kick or it goes this way. And you do that consistently. And each time the level of my support goes like this, every game, like this, to the point whenever he comes on, like when he came on today for Son, even though I thought Son didn't play too well, I thought, well, we definitely lost now because
you haven't got coming on. You haven't got a second pair of lucky pants that you could send into Timo, do you?
Listen, there's nothing. This guy, there's the term called washed. He's washed. He's done. He's the potential. All the potential he has is his speed, blistering pace, and he demonstrates it in all the games. He did it again today, blistering pace. But you know what's going to happen? We all know. If you put him through one-on-one, we all know. Even the goal he scored at Man City, let's all admit, we know it was a missed kick, right? And even he was surprised that he scored and tried to pretend, I'm a great goal scorer by running to the fans. We all know, look, man, whatever. So my confidence in Timo Werner, I'll be happy when he's sold. And again, when we have a better player, then we have more opportunity to do better, when we get into those positions, to make good choices with the crosses. When we get into the one-on-one positions, we're going to likely to score. He should be on some good numbers. How could you be playing, having all that? You call yourself a professional, and your numbers are woeful. I'm sorry, but he for me is up there with the Royals, with the Sanchez, with the Soldados. He's in that category of players that I've lost total respect for. And Richarlison, I think, the fake Brazilian, all of them just don't fill me with confidence, because you can tell the difference when a quality player goes in that position. When Solanke plays up front, I can hold up the ball. Richarlison ain't doing that. Richarlison can hold the ball and put on a good pass. Richarlison ain't doing that. That Solanke can hustle and close down. Solanke ain't doing that. When the ball comes up front, Solanke ain't holding it up. Sorry, Richarlison ain't holding it up. So we know the difference. I'm not being too harsh, Stu. This is the fact. We know the difference when we have quality players in the right positions. It's just night and day, as we saw with Kinsky in goal. Night and day as a goalkeeper compared to Fraser, I dive after the fact Forster. We know the difference that has on the back line. We know that what the difference has on the whole team. So going back to Werner, I'm sorry, bro. I loved you, but now it's time for the relationship to be ended. Hopefully you can go back. Even his own team were like, we don't want you back, mate. Just whatever, don't come back. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Do you know what I find very sad? Even though we won this evening, he was still on his own, where the team was celebrating, and he was still on his own. He walked down the tunnel on his own. And it's like that when we lose a game as well, which I find a big shame, because a team should win together and lose together.
What do you think? Listen, I'm sure, 100%, I'm sure there's a group chat of Spurs players abusing him secretly or rolling their eyes. You know, I'm sure that because you can't watch that performance and not have an opinion as a player, thinking, this guy, what are you doing? You can't even shoot. They must be running jokes.
I think, in fairness, though, Leo, he does work very, very hard. He works very hard for the team. But I just think that the end product isn't there. He is on loan, so we do expect him to go back to RB Leipzig at the end of the season. And as I've said on multiple podcasts, you know, the transfer windows do need to be better. And let's hope that we do get a good few players in this window. Craig?
He does, sorry, to answer your question, he does need to play 90 minutes so that everyone else can on Saturday against Tamworth, and he has to pull out a performance. If he doesn't pull out a good performance against and I mean like actually you can play. If he doesn't do that, then you know that he's totally washed.
Craig, let's come to you. Let's talk about the disallowed goal in the 76th minute. Pedro Porro to Dominic Solanke. And as Sai said earlier, you know, when Solanke does get chances, he can finish. And he certainly finished this one. Spurs thought they were 1-0 up. Of course, it went to VAR. It was offside. How close was it?
Yeah, it was a great ball through and a great finish. It was probably a toenail in it. It was one of those really, really close ones. It was one of those ones where you look at it and you could say they can't exactly tell when the ball was struck. If they'd moved it back a frame, he'd have been onside. That's how close it was. Look, you can't complain about it because VAR is VAR. We've seen them before. We've had decisions go for us and against us. You'd like to think during the season they even out, but that was so ridiculously close. It was one of those that when they put the green line and the actual line of the defender, and then whether it's green or it's red to denote whether it's on or off, it was almost on top of it. So it was millimeters. It really was. But a great finish by Solanke, which is great to see. So at least he's getting in those positions, and he put the ball in the back of the net. Just coming back to Timo, I think he done okay tonight. Actually, I do. I know, Leo, I don't want to hear that, but I thought he done okay. I do, and I wouldn't say I was a Timo Werner fan, but there's nobody that wants to see him do well at Spurs as much as me. Well, as much as everybody, not just me. You know, we all want to see him doing well. But
when any player wears that Tottenham badge, of course, every single fan wants them to do well.
That's right. I think he gets a bit of a rough ride, and you know, I do feel sorry for him in a way to see a player going off on your own. Now, whether that's his teammates don't want to talk to him, or whether that's him, or whether he realises that Leipzig don't want him back. And do you know what? You can tell, you're like, oh yeah, he gets paid £100,000 a week, blah 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 blah. He's still a human being at the end of the day. So I'm not going to sit here and run down Timo Werner. Yes, do I want more from him? Yes. Do I want more in product? Yes. I thought he was dangerous when he came on today. I thought he, in certain occasions today, he did more than Son did, because he actually stretched the defence and ran at the defenders when they were tiring. And that's what you want to see. That's what he's there for. But his end product's got to be better. I hope he plays against Tamworth, and I hope he scores or sets up a couple of goals, because while he's wearing our shirt, I will support him as best I can until you can't support him anymore. I don't think he was terrible today. I thought it was one of his better games for us when he's come on as sub this season. I'll be honest. Yeah,
we certainly want to see him putting in those crosses, and the way that he beat Carl Walker at the Etihad Stadium when we beat City. That's what we want to see more of.
Exactly, and that's what you get from him, yeah.
We want to see more of that at Tamworth on Sunday. That's what we want.
We do.
A few of those.
Craig, talk me through the Bergvall tackle. Actually, before you do, let's play a clip from Virgil van Dijk about the Bergvall tackle before I get your opinion.
Listen, I think it was quite obvious that it was going to be a second yellow. Obviously, I think it was pretty clear, and there was a coincidence. Then a minute later, obviously, he scores the winner. But listen, it is what it is. He made a mistake in my opinion, and I told him that. And he thinks maybe he didn't, but it was quite obvious, I think, and everyone on the sideline knew exactly that it was supposed to be a yellow.
Yeah, I mean, on top of the fact that, I think everyone would agree it should have been a second yellow. Am I right in thinking you were then without Tsimikas on the pitch at that second that the goal goes in?
I have no idea. Obviously, it goes quite quick. The fact is that he should have been off. I think there's a linesman there, there's a fourth official there, there's VAR, there's the referee, and he doesn't get a second yellow. I'm not saying that this is the reason why we lost, of course, tonight, but it was a big moment in the game.
That's a weird one, Craig. I feel like Van Dijk is very similar to us. He's talking about it, and he's smiling about it, and so are we. What did you make? What did you make of the second yellow? Because right at the start of the show, both of us said, he should have been sent off. He should have been sent off, shouldn't he?
By the letter of the law, he should have been sent off. And look, let's go back. The first tackle was not a yellow card, and they discussed it in the Sky Sports studio. And he's quite right. You as a referee, you shouldn't think, well, I got that one wrong, so I'm. Perhaps he thought about it and thought, well, perhaps that wasn't a yellow, so I'm not going to give him a yellow for that. It's the fact he played the advantage. Apparently, he can't come back and give him a yellow card. I don't know the rule. I haven't read the rule book cover to cover, so I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. Ange actually, if you watch Ange's full interview, he said that's what they'd been told. But yeah, by the letter of the law, he should have got a yellow card for that. But as I said before, Jota should have been sent off when he kicked Oliver Skipping head, and then he went on to score the winner. They said that Tsimikas was off the pitch. He was, and Diaz dropped into the left back position, but the ball was nowhere near the left back position when it was played through. So for me, a player being off the pitch, Jamie Redknapp would have you believe that Liverpool at 6s and 7s were all over the place when it happened. They weren't. Diaz just dropped back, and they was basically one up front at the time. It didn't affect the play in any way, shape, or form. It was bad defending. It was good strength from Solanke and bad defending from Konate. And Spurs just ripped them open, and Bergvall finished it off. That's what happened. Whether he should have been on the pitch or not, he was on the pitch. We got a bit of luck. He got a bit of luck, and that's all you can say. This is football. This is football. But the referee got that one wrong, the second one, and he should have been off. But again, I'll come back to it. The first one shouldn't have been a yellow card anyway.
Craig, what did you make of the referee or the officials giving the decision over the Tannoy? Because, of course, when Dominic Solanke was seen to be offside, the referee came on the Tannoy and actually said that Solanke was offside. It seemed to me quite strange inside the stadium to get that announcement from the officials, because when you've been at certain games and an announcement comes over the like the Tannoy and it says, if anyone's number plate is blah blah blah, can you move your car? It was just a bit like that. It just seemed really weird.
Yeah, it was very much. It reminded me of American football, to be honest with you, NFL. It really did remind me of that. You don't see it in the stadium, them drawing the lines. You don't see, and you don't still see that, do you? They didn't put that on the screen, did they? So I think that's probably the next stage where you can see what people see at home, because we obviously had a better view of things, and when that red line comes up, it's going to be offside. So I don't actually know how I feel about it, to be honest. I'm a big fan of technology in football. I think goal line technology has worked brilliantly because it's instant, it's seamless, and I think it's improved the game. I think VAR is obviously here to stay, so you have to embrace it. I don't think it's going anywhere. They've spent too much money on it. So they're trying to make improvements and tweaks to it. But I still think there's a long way to go with it. And I'll go back to when the earlier rounds of this cup, when there was no VAR, you haven't got that sort of safety net if you concede, but you can celebrate a goal when it goes in. And it was almost like a throwback to how it used to be.
Yeah.
And if I'm sitting here asking myself, which do I prefer? I prefer the olden days when you didn't have VAR.
Yeah.
Give me that over VAR any day, but it's here to stay, like I say. So yeah, but I imagine it must have been slightly strange inside the stadium to hear that.
Well, I think the only difference was that instead of actually reading it on the board, you just got that announcement instead. I don't see the benefit really in it. So let's come to you. Let's talk about the goal. Let's talk about Bergvall's goal. Talk us through the goal, because it was a wonderful moment, wasn't it?
It was, and the ball from the back. Was it Porro played the ball from the back?
Yeah.
And then Solanke absolutely beasted Konate, didn't he? So let's sort you out. And his desire was fantastic. And then, he has this is the credit to Dominic Solanke generally about his game. He has the wherewithal to know what's around him, who's going where. The pass was perfect. And then it gets to Lucas Bergvall, and that lad is calmness personified. He didn't thrash at it. He didn't, the glory lights weren't shining in his eyes, the bingo lights going, oh, here we go. Calmness, just passed it into the corner. It was a superb finish. But don't underestimate Dom Solanke's part in that goal, because he was probably 60-40 against winning it when the ball went forward. Made it 60-40 the other way around with his strength, desire, and determination. So, and then laid it on a plate for another Iceman just to pass it into the corner of the net. Didn't blast it. Didn't go mad with it. Calmly put it into the net. And going back to the youngsters tonight, I know I keep mentioning it. Kinsky, Gray, Bergvall, ice through their veins. It's fantastic. Ice.
Just before we talk about the Tamworth game at the weekend, some great news, because Rodrigo Bentancur has just posted on his Instagram story a picture of him and his wife. And it says here, all good, guys. Thank you for the messages. Congratulations for the victory, boys. So that is great news that he is okay and he's at home.
Brilliant.
Brilliant news.
Chris, I just put these up actually because
yeah.
I think it shows not only Pedro Porro's pass there. You can see, obviously, we all know that there's a long pass into Solanke there, running on, using his strength. Push. I love to see that. Pushes Konate out of the way. Great ball back, Bergvall, and as I said, slots it past Allison in the corner, and so pleased for him. Absolutely superb.
When you showed that picture there, the one thing that I absolutely love is how quick Bergvall shot, because how many times in that final third, Craig, have we seen a player take that extra touch and just trying to almost score the perfect goal, literally trying to walk it in. So, to hit it first time as well, fantastic finish.
Well, you can see that as the ball's coming across to him.
Yeah.
Obviously, things are moving. It's difficult sometimes to see from a picture, but he didn't have a long time there to hit it before he was shut down. But yeah, he could have been hurt in that actually, because he was coming in almost at a side angle, but very brave to go for it, and a great finish, and he fully deserved that goal.
Craig, can you put that picture up again of the one where the first one where Solanke and Konate are running together? So just after
that one or the next one?
Yeah, no, that one. Who looks favourite there?
Exactly.
Yeah, who looks favourite in that shot, and then who is determined, and say the strength and the strength, and then the wherewithal to, as you said, Craig, take him out wide, and then, but also what makes me so happy is look at the two Spurs players there. They are expecting him to get it, aren't they? And what was that? The 85th minute. Those two, I think it was Brennan Johnson. They're still running hard. It's just the determination. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Is that Kulusevski? In the middle there. Yeah. So I don't know where Werner was. Perhaps he's. I don't know.
Don't start Leo
about Werner. I don't know. Perhaps he's not in that one.
There, where is he? Oh, there he is.
No, there he is. He's over there. There he is. So he was involved. He's in the picture. So he must be involved.
And of course, Kinsky made a fantastic save right at the end. And as you said, Craig, what a wonderful moment for him, his family to be there, making his debut just 3 days later in a semi-final after signing from Slavia Prague. Fantastic moment, really was.
Amazing.
Lastly, let's get your opinions on the transfer window, and let's get your score predictions for the Tamworth game and how you think Spurs will set up. Craig, let's start with you. What business would you like Spurs to do from now until the end of the window? What do you think will happen? And tell us how you think Ange Postecoglou will set up. Will he go with a lot of the youngsters? Will he go with a lot of the players that haven't perhaps had a lot of game time, the Dorringtons? Will Austin come in? Do you think? What changes do you think he'll make? And if you dare, give us a score prediction.
Firstly, you mad lot. Look, it's 20-1 in the morning in England. I don't know where everyone's watching from.
Hardcore podcasting.
Nearly 2,500 of you watching. It is utterly unbelievable. Go to bed. Don't go to bed yet. I mean, see us out. We've got another 5-10 minutes. Transfer window. Impressive start, you have to say. Bringing in the keeper. What do I expect to what I think will happen? I think actually we'll probably still get a couple of players in, perhaps a striker and another defender, a left back / centre back, hopefully. But you have to say it's a good start, and we got a player in. They got players in early. Well, the goalkeeper in early, and he's obviously helped us tonight to get that result. Tamworth, I think we'll see a lot of players get a rest. Will he bring in Dorrington? I don't know. That's a really tough one. I genuinely don't know. You'd think it would be the sort of game that he would. I think Si said, if he can't play in this one, then when is he going to play? You know. So if we don't see Dorrington start, then you think, okay, perhaps Ent doesn't fancy him yet, and perhaps Dorrington might get a loan away for the rest of the season if we bring in another centre back. Perhaps that's a possibility. Probably could do with it because he had a bad hamstring injury himself in the summer, so he's still getting back into it. I'd love to see Gang get a start. I'd love to see Lancashire get a start. I'd love to see Werner get a start, and just rest the players we really need to rest. And I would imagine he will put Austin in goal and give him a go, because he deserves that fully from his performance at the weekend. So yeah, I think we'll see a lot of changes. Score prediction: I'm going to go 4-0 Tottenham.
Okay, Si, what are you thinking?
Craig beat me to it. That's the result. So I'll trump him and go 5. But I'm going to go 5-1 because I still can't believe we're going to get a clean sheet. But that's been my mantra for the season. The player wise, I just think it's critical for me that if we can do it, and it is an if we can do it, we get a left back and a left centre back. If it can be done. If I had to choose between the two, I'd take a left back, because I believe that brings more value to the team, because we have solutions with Archie Gray and Dragusin, and then there's a couple of players on the horizon coming back, isn't there? So then the other one for me is, if you can get a forward, if you can get a Moani or somebody of that ilk that will be, alone with either an option or an obligation to buy, I think that would be a good deal for us, because that whether we like him, hate him, take the mickey out of him or whatever, Timo Werner will not be a Tottenham player, will he, in the summer? I don't think that's going to happen. So therefore, there's if you want to call it a slot open for somebody. So if you could get a Moani, I think it adds to the versatility on the front line. And then for the weekend, for me, is I think Brandon Austin did enough last weekend to get another go in that competition for sure. I would be, if it's at all possible, and again, this is just being pragmatic about it rather than anything else. I would play Reggie on at left back. I'd play Spence at right back. I'd give Porro a rest. I would really use this as an opportunity to change the team round, and I would be Madison. Madison's going to come in and get a full game. So therefore, from the midfielders tonight, take Kulusevski out, bring Madison in, and I'll go back to what I said earlier. Sorry to be a stuck record on this. I wouldn't even have Kulusevski and Solanke on the bench. I just wouldn't. And then for me, probably the front players. I'd like to see, if he's fit enough, I'd like to see Mikey Moore have a game. I'd like to see Lancashire play. And if you're going to do that, I would probably play Werner on the left, Lancashire in the middle, Moore on the right, and I'd give Sonny a rest as well. But I'm all for changing it around. And Craig, thanks for pointing out again. If Dorrington doesn't play in this game, then for me, he has no Spurs future. What about Yang Min-hyuk? Do you think he could get run out as well? Yeah, I would have him on the bench, and if things are going well, then you can always bring him on for second half an hour, just to introduce him, into the game, and also again, if we're doing well in the game, we've had Hardy, Olasese, and those kind of guys on the bench. If you're in a good position, bring them on, give them their moment, because they have been with the squad this year. They have been there, and I think it's wherever you can do it, you should be, rewarding those players for the efforts that they put in, and the fact that you're thinking about them, having them on the bench in other games. So for me, I go back to this thing. If Lancashire can't score goals against Tamworth, if Alfie Dorrington can't defend against Tamworth, then I think it says more about them than anything else. And like I say, let's go back to Lancashire. I think scoring goals in the under-21s Premier League is more difficult than if he was playing at the level of football that Tamworth play. Again, just an opinion. I love it, Si, how you said, if things are going well. We're playing Tamworth. They should be going well. They should be going well. Yeah. I'm a Spurs fan. Yeah. I know. Leo, lastly with you, what would you hope to happen in the transfer window in just under 4 weeks' time, and what are your thoughts on the Tamworth game?
What I'd want transfer window so far, definitely, I actually like Evan Ferguson from Brighton. I think he's a quality striker. I think I saw him play, not last season or season before, and I actually thought that he could possibly be, I'm going to get slack for this, possibly be a potential Kane replacement. He's good. He's kind of got that Shearer-esque big stuff. So I would like us to try and go for him, to have him. So at least we have good, strong, because I'm not Richarlison fan. So I think if Solanke goes, we're in big trouble. So we need someone that can come in and 6'2". Wow. Someone that can come in. Yeah, that's if Fraser Forster plays. It's definitely going to be 4-3. So that, yes, I want that. Obviously, just defense-wise, your left back, as I said, could be good. Even the centre back, I don't even mind that. I think we just need some more. We just need some more bodies. Regarding the game on against Tamworth, I actually probably would play Kinsky. I would play him purely the fact that I would want to just bed him in a bit more, because he's just come in literally.
I know it's late. Yeah. Adam Smith has written here: Tamworth 5, Tottenham 8.
How many goals would Forster have scored with that one? So I would give Kinsky a run in, just so to bed him in more, just to give him more about English football. So I will play him. And score wise, we'll definitely win. I don't think it's going to be an 8-5 business. I'm going to be conservative. I'll probably say 3-1.
Well, a win is a win, and as long as we go through to the fourth round, and let's go far in this competition, same as the Carabao Cup. Leo, you've been a great guest as always. Thank you so much. Where can people find you, and what are you up to at the moment?
Leo the Lion Grammars. You can find me on Instagram. I've just started a TikTok page. All these years everyone's talking about TikTok, so I just got a TikTok thing. It's the same handle. And I'm not going to start dancing around. Maybe if we win, you probably see me TikTok with these on. So tune in for that. But yeah, I'm just
or perhaps don't.
tune in for that. Craig and I have planned to sing songs in our boxes if Spurs win the Carabao Cup.
With James Black backing you, is that right?
Definitely.
Yeah. We're on it.
It's certainly been the week for singers. Of course, Leo's a singer, Si's a singer. Craig, we haven't heard your singing on the podcast yet.
Yeah, you won't either. Yeah.
Greg, everyone's got to promise to do something if we do win. So, Craig, what are you promising to do? You have to do something.
What am I going to do?
Something.
I will do.
He might smile for once.
I am smiling. Look, I'm happy tonight, even though it's late. I'm happy tonight. Do you know what I'll do if we win the final? If we win, you talk about winning the final, Leo. Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah. I'll do what any golfers out there. I'll do what Bryson DeChambeau did, and he hit golf balls over his house every day for like weeks on end until he got a hole in one. So I'll do that, and I'll probably smash all the windows in the house.
No, it has to be something that we all can experience here on the channel.
Oh, I'll put it out on the channel. Don't worry about it, and I'll do it in my pants.
He's obsessed. Craig, thank you so much. Where can people find you apart from hitting balls in your garden?
Oh, but yeah, playing with my balls. Yeah, at Dearman9 on X. If you want to give me a follow, that'd be great. But I'll tell you what, you mad lot, 2,500 people, unbelievable. Thank you for your support as always.
Well, I've just actually looked at the official stats, and over 10,000 people have viewed this podcast so far. So thank you so much for all of your input today, because we've had so many comments in as well. Stu, sorry, I keep calling you Stu. Si, do you know what it is? I've got a friend called Stu who looks exactly like you. That is so weird. It's so weird. So you've been a fantastic guest on your debut on the Spurs Chat podcast. We would definitely love to have you back in the very near future.
Pleasure,
Thank
Chris.
You so
Absolute
much
pleasure. No, pleasure. And I'll say it's I fulfill one of my dreams, and that's this week. So I shared the screen with James Black, and I've shared the screen with Craig Dearman. Life doesn't get any better than this.
The check's in the post. The check's in the post.
I'll tell you what I will do. I stopped playing golf because of a shoulder injury, so I'll send all my balls up to you, Craig, so you can use them in your celebration.
Thanks very much, Stu. Stu, sorry. Bloody hell, he's got me doing it now.
Do you know what, Si? He's always after a free trip, always asking the viewers where they live to try and get a free trip. I don't think Craig ever expected that he's going to get a box of golf balls instead.
Well, he can have a free trip down to Cornwall if he wants to come, so we'll gladly host him.
Lovely part of the world.
I'll tell you what, if Leo comes as well when we're in the Carabao Cup final, and then we can do like the full Monty, all three of us with our pants on.
Oh God, yeah, I was going to say Leo come in his pants. Oh my God, I've just done it again.
Yeah. I'll be busy that day. I'll be busy. Right, we're going. It is nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, so thank you so much for everyone for tuning in and for listening. Craig, you've been a great guest. Si, Leo, thank you so much for all of your input. And as we've all said, let's hope the Spurs can go to the final, but it is going to be a very, very difficult game at Anfield in 4 weeks' time. But next up, Tamworth in the FA Cup. Let's hope that we can go through to the fourth round, and let's hope that we'll have another win, and we're all smiling and have a great weekend. Have a great week, everyone. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs!